Steve here, and today we are talking about Star Trek. Specifically, Star Trek Piccard. I'm going to be doing a review for Season 1, as well as letting you know where I think that Star Trek Piccard fits in on my Star Trek TV show tier list. Now, it might seem that it's a bit late to be doing a review for Star Trek Piccard Season 1, seeing how they had their season finale, I think, about 2 weeks ago, but hey, better late than never. It also might seem too early to be putting Star Trek Piccard on my Star Trek TV show tier list, because it's only had one season. Now, to that I say, well, you never know. I mean, sure, Star Trek Piccard has been greenlit for some more seasons, but you never know what's going on. That might not happen. And even if it does happen, who says I'm going to be around to see it? That's just the way life is these days. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a video, let you know what I thought about Star Trek Piccard. So first up, the good. I like how they broke with the format. I made complaints in my Star Trek TV show tier list with Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Enterprise, how they kept using the same format as the shows before it, and by the time they got to those two, it just gotten stale. It's always a show about a Federation starship with its captain and its first officer and its chief medical officer and its chief engineer. And its navigator. It's just kind of the same characters with a few variations thrown in here. Well, this one kind of broke the format more than, say, Star Trek Discovery, where all of those positions are being run by the same guy. Captain Rios is the captain of the ship, La Serena, but the chief engineer is a hologram, the chief medical officer is a hologram, the navigator is a hologram. They're all holograms of him, and he has them do weird accents. I thought that was pretty funny. And of course, the captain isn't the main guy. That's, Admiral Piccard, who hires Captain Rios to take him from one planet to the next as they're looking for, Soji, the magical robot. So I did enjoy the break with the format. The production value was amazing. I felt like I was watching a Star Trek movie each and every episode, or, like Star Trek, but it had been done by HBO, minus all the nudity. Also, I like how they explored the Romulans. They've had Romulans since the original series, and this one kind of gets into their culture more than we've seen before. So I enjoyed that. Patrick Stewart, I didn't necessarily think that he was playing, Captain Piccard anymore. He was just doing, the impression of Patrick Stewart playing, Captain Piccard. But Patrick Stewart is awesome, so I enjoyed his performance as well as, Jeremy Ryan's. And some of the new cast members whose names I don't have off the top of my head. The guy who played Rios, and as well as all the little holograms, he was great. The woman who played Raffi, she was great. And let's move on to the bad. Characters that I didn't like. Soji. She's the main focus of Season 1. The magical android chick that everyone has to find because she's going to be the destroyer of worlds and blah, 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 blah. She was just not interesting. Her character was just so boring. And like I said, there's such a focus on her that, you got to make a decent character. And I think they failed that. And also, Agnes. This is the new Star Trek where everyone has to be quirky. And they had to have one really quirky character, and that was Agnes, and I didn't like her. I just throw her out in airlock. Especially this thing where she's using the, handheld replicator, and she makes all these copies, and we're like, oh, God, there's more of her. I did not like Angus. Continuity. I'm not a big continuity guy. I understand that, if you're writing for Star Trek or some show that's been around forever and there's been all these episodes, you don't know every little bit of fake history that's been created. But with this one, I think they made a big gap with the Romulans and how everyone hates them. And it's like, okay, I get that, the Federation and Romulans haven't always got along, but why is everyone acting like they're the most hated enemies of the Federation? It seems like that would be the Klingons, or the Borgs, or the Dominion. And if you follow the show, there's all these huge gaps where they had no contact with the Romulans. The first appearance, they're talking about how, we fought them 100 years ago. And then later, Next Generation, they're talking about how they had lost contact with the Romulans, and the Romulans were back. And like I said, there's just all this time period where they had no contact with the Romulans, so why they still hate them. And of course, in Deep Space Nine, the Romulans, they were allied with the Federation in the Dominion War. And when you compare them to people like the Borg, or, the Klingons, or the Dominion, it kind of seems that they would be like a fourth or fifth enemy of the Federation. But in this one, they're acting like they're just blood enemies. Small continuity thing, didn't have too much of a problem with it. So anyway, I did enjoy Season 1 of Star Trek Piccard. Now, as far as where it fits on my tier list, well, let's just bring the tier list up real quick. All right, so as you can see, none of the Star Trek shows I ever really disliked. There was just some that I didn't think were that interesting. And I'm going to put Star Trek Piccard at the beta level right now with the animated series and Star Trek Voyager. And we'll see if it goes up or down if there's ever anything to see.